Welcome to the Qigong Live Online. This is the class we're going to do the breathing today. We're going to introduce the basic breathing. There's lots of different breathing patterns. We're going to introduce the different parts of breathing. So far we've done the warm-up exercises. I did the stance. The class was the stances. Now we're going to do the breathing, the basic breathing. And then we're going to take all that understanding and we're going to take it into the first text, or we actually do the bow first. And then we're going to take it into the basic exercises. As we do each week, we're going to just do a different exercise and go through the very, very simple parts of how they're constructed and how they're working without overcomplicating them. Qigong exercises are multifaceted. A simple exercise that looks relatively easy has lots of different parts to it, to do with the breathing, to do with the stances, to do with what engagement of what meridians they're involved in. So there's lots of pieces to it. And sometimes it can be a bit complicated. So I'm going to try and break it down and make it really simple to start off with. And then as you do more and more, you can do more higher level classes to understand the same exercises and understand the different levels. But to start off with, make it nice and easy. So the last class we were doing the stance. We'll go back into stance again as just a reviser. Remember, we're standing on our kidney points, kidney 1. Our toes are touching the ground. You can squeeze your toes together and then relax your toes. The weight's on the ball of your feet. That's the front part of your foot. Your heels are on the ground, but there's no weight on the heels. They're sprung because I'm standing on my muscles. To do that, I need to bend your knees slightly. Bend your knees slightly. Good. That's it. And then you can feel yourself, you're sprung on your muscles and you feel like you're bouncing on your muscles. And as soon as you do that, you engage the energy inside the muscles. It engages all the meridians as soon as you engage the muscles, because the muscles need the energy, so it's how it engages. So then, as I say, the heels are on the ground, no weight. Remember, the other part was important was to tuck your pelvis forward. I can bring the side. When you bend your knees slightly, tuck your pelvis forward and then relax. So you keep a nice straight back, yeah. And then the energy travels up and down the body a lot easier. So breathing. So there's lots of different breathing patterns. And it's the same thing I was saying about the stances. There's lots of different stances depending on the exercise you're doing. It adopts different stances for that particular exercise. And so they're designed like that. Well, the breathing's the same. There's lots of different breathing patterns. And they're designed for that particular exercise. And some exercises have 3 different breathing patterns. You can do them 3 different ways. Breathe 3 different ways on the same exercise to make it even more complicated. Qigong exercises are fundamentally easy what they look like. They look very simple. But what's happening inside the body and what's happening in the structure is a lot more complicated. And as we just get more and more, we'll build on that. So the breathing, the basic breathing is, so first of all, in and out the mouth, in and out the mouth, in and out the nose. Some breathing patterns breathe in and out the mouth, but in breath and out breath through the mouth. Some breathing patterns in and out through the nose. Some breathing patterns breathe in through the nose, out the mouth. Some into the mouth, out the nose. They all have different relevance of why you do the different ones. But for me, we're going to go right back to the start and just learn how to do the breathing from the stomach. Yeah, just learning how to do the breathing from the stomach. And so when we do that, the energetic of the breathing through the stomach is that when we breathe into our lungs, we breathe oxygen from outside of ourselves into our lungs, and then the oxygen goes into the blood vessels and through the bronchioles, goes through all the blood vessels, and the oxygen is absorbed into the blood and then transported around the body, yeah, which is pretty logical. People know much about that. So, but in Qigong, we're not so much worrying about well, we do worry about it, but it's not what we're going to talk about today. It's not so much the oxygen going into the blood. So it's more about the energy of the oxygen. So if you think of the O2, the oxygen molecule, goes into the blood, circulates through the body. And the oxygen, the O2 in the blood goes through every cell in the body. And it's fuel, it's food for every cell in the body, yep. But we're talking about the energy of the oxygen. The energy of the actual oxygen itself is taken off the oxygen, the O2, and it's taken from your lungs, and it's taken down into your kidneys. The kidney energy. The kidney energy they talk about in Chinese medicine, the kidney energy grasps the energy of the lungs, which is the energy of the breath. So when we talk about people talking about belly breathing, well, you know your lungs aren't down here, so you can't breathe down here, but you can breathe energy down there, and that's the difference. So when I breathe in, and I breathe in, my tummy comes out as I breathe in, I'm pulling the energy down. I know that the oxygen's going into the blood vessels through my lungs up here, but the energy of the oxygen is coming down. I'm bringing it down, and it's pushing my tummy out, and I'm bringing it right down into my lower dantian. And the same thing as when I pull my tummy in. It's pushing my diaphragm up, which squeezes my lungs and pushes all the carbon dioxide out. Yep. So I breathe in, the diaphragm comes down and the tummy comes out because it goes down and pushes the tummy out. But I'm drawing the energy down into my body. I'm actually drawing my energy into my lower dantian, my physical center. This is your lower dantian is halfway between the front and the back. It's right in the middle, and it's your energy center of your body. You have your spiritual center in your heart, your mental center in your mind, so mental, spiritual, and your physical center. It's about 2 to 3 fingers underneath your tummy button, depends which point you want to use. Accesses the dantian, and it's halfway between the front and the back. It's got a front door to the dantian, and it's got a back door to the dantian. There's 2 acupuncture points either side of it, and it's right in the middle. Okay. And so you're drawing energy down into that physical center, and you're doing that with the breath. Yep. So as we breathe in, I'll do it with you. As we breathe in, your tummy comes out. As you breathe out, pull your tummy and breathe out. You're breathing out through your mouth. Breathe in through your nose, bring it right down. And feel your tummy expand. Pull your tummy and breathe out. I'll turn around so you can see the sideways. Yep. Breathe in, feel the tummy coming in. Breathe in. The diaphragm goes down. Tummy expands as you're filling up this energy of your belly, your Buddha belly. You bring it down here. The energy is right down there. Breathe out, push it in. Pushes the diaphragm up. And the air goes out. Breathing in. And breathing out. Breathing in. And breathing out. Now, if you've never done belly breathing before, this is a relatively new thing for you, then it's going to take a bit of practice of how to do this. It's not something that's just going to be normally do that, unless you've been doing yoga or Pilates or things which they talk about belly breathing. This could be a new concept to you, which is fine, but it's just about practice. So you can just sit in your chair in your office and think of breathing in, pulling your tummy and breathe out. Relax your tummy, breathe in. Feel your tummy expand, that's it. Breathe out. Breathe in. And get used to the idea of this. Many Qigong exercises are done with this breath. Breathe in. As I say, there's lots of different variations to this, but this is the really basic beginner's one, so understand that. Breathe out. Breathe in. Sometimes it's done in and out the nose, breathing in. Breathing out through the nose. Breathing in through the nose. Tummy still expand. Breathe out, tummy contracts. So if you think of the diaphragm, it says it expands, the diaphragm comes down, the lungs expand, the diaphragm goes down, and it pushes the tummy out. Breathing in. Push your tummy and pushes the diaphragm. Tummy goes in, pushes the diaphragm up, squashes the lungs, pushes all the air out of the lungs, all the carbon dioxide out of the lungs. Yep. Then you bring the diaphragm back down again. You breathe in, tummy goes out. And breathe out. Good. It's simple. And just to practice this one, and this is the one we're going to do today. There's lots of different versions of this where you have upper and lower. You have breathing in from the lungs and out from this chest. You can go both ways, reverse breathing. There's lots of different ways. There's a reverse breathing method. You can breathe, the whole body can breathe energy in and out. But for the very, very first start, all we need to learn is to how to breathe in and bring the energy down to your lower dantian. Breathe in. Down to the dantian, and then breathe out from the lower dantian. Breathe energy in, lower down to the dantian, and then breathe out. And just get used to the idea, the concept of that first. The idea of that is how we're going to move the energy of the oxygen around the body. We're going to start off with this basic belly breathing exercise. And as we get to different exercises we're doing as beginner level, as we do these, I'll introduce the different breath pattern for the particular exercise we're going to do if there's one that's not this one. This is, as I say, very common, and I'll do most of the exercises to start off with. I'll do this breath pattern, and I'll pick exercises that use this breath pattern to make it easy for you. Yep, breathing out. And I say, when I first started, I used to sit on my motorcycle, breathing in and out. Sit in the office, breathing in and out. Just getting used to breathing in and then breathing out. Long, slow, quiet breaths. Good. So now we're going to talk about the duration of the breath itself now. Good. So different breath patterns. So generally, and we're going to do the exercises with this one to start with. The breath patterns, the even breath out, even breath in. So if I'm breathing in to 1,000, breathe in 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, breathe out 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, or 1,000, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then breathe out 1, 2, 3, 4. So then the breath's the same. So you're having an even out breath, even in breath. So they regulate each other. Now most Qigong, a lot of Qigong, you've got to be very careful because there's so many different exercises that do different ones. Most Qigong have this pattern of this harmonization of the meridians and the in and the out breath. They have this harmonization, which is important to balance the energy inside the body. But some do have longer out breaths and shorter in breaths, depending on the exercise, because some exercises have short in breath movements and very long out breath movements. And so they are slightly different because of that. But generally, even in, even out, and that'll help with the regulation of your breath, and it'll help with the regulation of the balance between the yin and the yang in the body. If they're balanced, the yin and the yang will be balanced inside the meridians as well. Yep. So that's the breathing. So we've talked about breathing in and out through the nose. We've talked about the time of how long you do your breath in and out. Talk about just standing and breathing right down to a lower dantian. Also remember that what we don't do in Qigong, generally, God, I've got to be careful when I say these things. Generally, you don't hold your breath. But there are exercises where you do hold your breath. But generally, you don't hold your breath, because if you hold your breath for too long, it sets up a response inside your body. And I think it's about 5 to 6 seconds. If you hold your breath between 5 and 6, all of a sudden the body knows you're not breathing anymore, and it goes into panic. And then all the adrenaline starts pumping through your body because, oh, we're not breathing. The body starts going, well, what's wrong? We're not breathing. And it's going, breathe. And as soon as you start breathing, it goes, oh, thank goodness for that. It doesn't by itself. It's an automatic response. So holding breath any more than 4 or 5 seconds can create this fight and flight mechanism to kick into your body, and the body goes into shock and adrenaline starts going. And you don't want that. You want the body to stay calm and relaxed. But there are exercises you do that on purpose to build up your immune system, but you do it because of the exercise, not for any other reason. It's actually part of the exercise. You're not doing it because that's the way you do it. The other thing that's important with the breath is when we're doing exercises is to keep the exercise in time with that. I'm just doing an exercise from Sheba Share. And you're keeping your breath in time with the movement. So I'm going to breathe in as the hands come up. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then breathe out 1, 2, 3, 4 on the way back down. Yep. So I'm going to keep them in the exercise breathing in, but I'm going to keep the breath in time with the movement of the body as well. Now, some exercises do this and some exercises, of course, don't, but I'll do exercises to start off with that do this so you get the idea of it. So you have exercises that are keeping in line with the movement of the body. Yep. So you say it's really complicated. I'm trying to make it as simple as possible, but it's quite complicated. But to start with, I'll do exercises that are really simple that use this regulated harmony, in breath, out breath, the same duration. I'll do breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth. I'll do these exercises for you to make it really simple to start so we don't get too complicated. Otherwise, it just becomes too much. And so hopefully that's useful. If you have any questions about this, please ask. Just write it in the comments. And if you have any questions, I'll answer them for you about the breathing. As I say, there's lots of different pieces. There's all sorts of breathing. We won't complicate it. We'll just think of this stage, breathing into your tummy. And then breathing out. In through your nose. Out through your mouth. When the tummy inflates on the in-breath, and the tummy contracts on the out-breath. Long, and the other one's a long, slow breath. Breathe a long, slow breath in. Long, slow breath out. That's why that Qigong exercise is done slowly. Breathing long way in. And a long, slow breath out. Even in, even out. Now, the reason why the long, slow breath, last piece I'll give you, is the longer the oxygen's inside your lungs, the more oxygen you absorb, the more energy you get. It's really simple. So if you breathe short, go, the oxygen that's going into your lungs is only going in, and you're only absorbing, I think in a normal breath, I think we only absorb 20%. I'm not sure whether I got that figure from, but it's not a lot. So you only absorb 20% of the oxygen as you breathe in. The other 80% you breathe back out again. So you're only absorbing a small amount. But when you're doing Qigong breathing, because you've got oxygen in your lungs for a long time, because you're breathing in slowly, as you breathe in slowly, it's in your lungs for a lot longer, so it gets to absorb more energy, more oxygen. So you're going to get more energy, pretty simple. And you're breathing out all the carbon dioxide you breathe out. So the longer the oxygen's in the lungs, the more energy you get, really simple. And that's why we breathe in and out slowly, because if we go, you're just grabbing a little bit of oxygen at a time. A long breath has a lot of oxygen goes into the body. Not only the oxygen for the blood, go through the blood system, but also you're getting a lot more energy from the oxygen as well into the body. And hence that's one of the reasons why we breathe really slowly, long, slow breaths, and breathe out so you're absorbing more energy. Yep, that'll be enough. There you go, that's the breathing. Sorry if it was a bit complicated. I'm trying to make it as simple as possible for you. But just remember the belly breathing, can't go wrong. Even breaths, easy, relax. Okay, do start with that one. Be very cool. So have a beautiful day, everybody, and we'll see you next week. Next week we're going to do the bow. We're going to do a bow, because I do that in part of the class, and we'll do a bow to put ourselves, our mental, our mind, and our body in a certain place before we start practicing, so we line ourselves up before we start actually doing the exercise itself, and that'll help heaps. Have a beautiful day, everybody. Bye-bye.